welcome. We'll talk about some of the developments under Kurukshetra this month, and it specifically focuses on sustainable management, sustainable agriculture. So here we focus on two important things: smart agriculture, climate smart agriculture, and climate resilient agriculture. So both of these have been really important and really a matter of concern. So when we talk about sustainable agricultural development, it talks about using the natural base or the natural resources in such a way that we are satisfying the needs of the present day generation but leaving the resources without environmental damage for the future generations to come, and that is what is a correct approach under sustainable agriculture. So less resources and less intense farming solutions are two important things that we focus under sustainable agricultural practices. And here we say only 5% of the sustainable agricultural practices are seen in India, which is comparatively a very less figure in contrast to the normal agriculture. Again, when we talk about organic farming, it's just 2% of the total area. Agroforestry, however, have a good coverage of nearly 25 million hectares of land. And natural farming is one of the fastest growing sustainable agricultural practices in India, which involves nearly 8 lakh farmers. Also, we have been seeing a lot of area has gone under integrated pest management, which is a good figure we can say. Now, what are the technologies involved? The technologies would be long-term technologies such that the needs of the future generations are met. So, to promote the socio-economic development, we are talking about conserving the soil, rotating the crop, following the IPM guidelines, which is integrated pest management, preserving the natural resources, seeing that there is no unnecessary excessive use of fertilizers and pesticides which is done. Also, dividing the various programs under the categorization of rain-fed areas, soil health management, and so on. Government's one of the scheme, which is Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana, focuses on encouraging micro irrigation, and this has increased the potential for irrigation at a very fast pace. Also, micro irrigation practices along with rainwater harvesting are some good ideas. Rashtriya Krishi Vikas Yojana talks about integrated nutrient management. We are also talking about composite farming systems, how more crop can be grown with every drop of water that it gets. Climate resilient agriculture, as we said, when climate change is there, let's say one of the crops can grow in a certain range of temperature. Now, if because of the climate change the temperature rises, what could be done? We could move to a crop which is more climate resilient and generate avenues for that. Millets in this reference is a good example. We'll talk about millets in more detail as we proceed here. So there are four components mainly which are seen for the guidelines under sustainable agriculture, which is focusing on rain-fed areas, on farm water management, soil health, and precision farming. Precision means accurate farming. So through the sensors, GPS, and technology, we try to identify that how much amount of fertilizers or pesticides must be used. So minimum requirement is being fulfilled. Even for water, for irrigation, the same thing goes. Now, various types of farming. Agroforestry, where we combine agriculture, the crops, the agriculture and the livestock together, and this would create a sustainable environment. Vertical farming, where the land is less in urban areas, vertical farming is done, and this increases the transport cost, lowers this increases the yield and lowers the transport cost. Hydroponics is growing without water, and without water or reducing the water to such an extent would increase the yield, and there can be new avenues which could be generated. Technologies which use solar or wind power. Kusum scheme is one such example, where discoms are being provided with solar energy, and the extra energy which is being generated in the rural areas, farmer can sell those to the discoms and earn. Automation is another good example, but one of the major issues with sustainable agriculture is there is limited access to finance, there is lack of infrastructure, the land market access is not proper, the fragments of the land are very small across the generations, they have been broken down. Now, as I said, climate sustainable and climate smart agriculture are two different things. When I say climate sustainable, we try to understand that the things have to focus on better water management, integrated pest and biodiversity management, quality seeds have to be used, good variety of crops have to be brought, and seed production must be taken into account. When we talk about climate smart, it says how we can manage the climate. So crops, livestock, fertilizers, forest and fisheries are addressed together under climate smart, and under this we aim to increase the production, make more resilience of the agriculture and reduce the emissions into the atmosphere. Also, when we are doing mechanization, we are taking into account that this mechanization is not increasing the global warming, and therefore a sustainable mechanization is important. So a single most important energy consuming operation is tractor operated tillage. Now small tractors make fewer pass in the field and they reduce the work of hours which are to be done, and this can be combined with conservation agriculture, reducing the carbon footprints, reducing the soil disturbance and soil erosion problems. So soil and land management, managing the soil fertility is again important. What are the ways to mitigate? So there have been various things, for example livestock mission, water mission, agroforestry mission, the Paramparagat Krishi Vikas Yojana which focuses on organic farming, the National Adaptation Fund for Climate Change, Sustainable Development Fund, Climate Resilient Funds are some of those to cite. Now what are the challenges? The inputs are very sensitive, so we need to bring in a change there, reduce the resource intensive practices, bring in more diversification and ability to adapt to local circumstances. The capacity building has to be enhanced and reduce the kind of awareness around the climate resilient farm practices. Or lack of awareness, we could say, is one of the major challenge which farmers are facing, because if farmers are aware about it, then they can bring in better crops and better production output. 5 principles involved are increasing the conservation, bringing in a continuous production, improving the socio-economic welfare, a state-of-art technology, and reducing or having a good government support. The 3 pillars include economy, society and environment. And what are the major practices? The major practices talk about crop rotation, integrated pest management, integrated livestock and crops, agroforestry, cover cropping, which is a very important idea, and this reduces soil erosion to a great extent, eliminating the use of tillage, and the technology used would focus on GM crops. But with the GM crops, we are also conversant that these GM crops are not using extra water, extra fertilizers, which is ultimately harming the soil. Finding out ways which are bringing efficient farm management techniques are some of the things, and then computational technology to find out what GM crop would suit which area. So specific crops in specific areas have to be identified. When we talk about recommendations, we talk about the proper focus, the short-term transition which has to be included, the financial support which must be brought. Contribution of women is again important. So agriculture productivity increases by 2.5% and the farm yields have increased by 20 to 30%. We are also talking about the mass mobilization where various government schemes like Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao, Sukanya Samriddhi, Rashtriya Mahila Kosh, Ujjwala Yojana, women helplines have proved out to be beneficial. Besides these, there are certain schemes for rural empowerment, for example, Jandan Yojana, Mudra Yojana, Stand Up India, Startup India, PM employment generation programs, giving in women benefits into credit access, loans, technology, entrepreneurship, is again important, and then meeting up the guidelines for financing. So these all help in understanding what could be the good way out. Now, focusing on the women entrepreneurship, the awareness of the agripreneurs, there has to be a program which is managed, that is the Ministry of Agriculture and Farmer Welfare, and talking about the collaborations with Pamiti in Ludhiana and the Department of Farmers Welfare Punjab. The idea is to increase the participation of women in various activities, and this could actually bring in great change. The Nobel Prize winner from Israel, Dan, actually talks about Mahila Kisans should be given proper chance, and once given they can actually bring in better developments. Now, under the Sustainable Development Goal 2.4, the indicator 2.4.1 focuses on proportion of agricultural area under productive and sustainable agriculture, and this talks about the three aspects of sustainability: identifying those, checking out the challenges, and facing the ideas through which sustainable growth has to be driven. So what are the contributions and how foreign exchange earnings over the years have declined? The diversification on the agriculture, where we say it could be in the form of field crops, plantation crops, horticulture, narcotics, have to be taken into account. Seva Susahasan and Garib Kalyan are two important schemes that have to be part of it. Again, over the years, how the food grain production and the horticulture production has changed. So we have seen a significant jump, higher percent of annual growth rate which is seen for horticulture, vegetables, fruits and others, in contrast to the cereals or the food grains. And this is a picture which helps us say that yes, we are looking forward for future avenues where other agricultural crops could be increased, and our agriculture exports have increased by remarkably 14%, but at the same time we have a very high figure for our imports, which is not a good figure, right? In every case our exports should be greater than imports in order to reduce or meet the fiscal deficits. Now, millet, as we call, our farmer's friend and one of the best nutri-cereals. They are also called as super cereals or Shri Anna. Three of them have been popular in India: Bajra, Jowar and Ragi. Bajra and Jowar contribute to the 19% of the world production comes from Indian millets, and the major homes include Andhra Pradesh, Haryana, Gujarat, Karnataka, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra. The 83% of the millets are grown from the following states which are given here. Millets have higher amounts of gluten, protein, vitamins, fibers, essential minerals, and therefore are considered as a holistic food. Now, to revolutionize the production of millets in India, growth and incentive awareness have been given. Flavor has to be adopted by the people, and therefore the consumption could be increased over the years, and even they are climate resilient, so they can grow in extreme conditions. Now, some of the pellets are part of the MSP, which include Ragi, Jowar and Bajra. So they also provide assured income to the farmers and therefore reduce the risk and have a good coverage. So these are the top areas under which Bajra, Jowar and Ragi are grown. So Ragi is mainly in terms of area and production, Karnataka leads; in Jowar, Maharashtra leads; and in Bajra, Rajasthan leads. The next is, to boost the millet consumption, we need to bring in diversification, agro-processing industries. So things could be created out of these nutri-cereals which could bring in value addition and fulfill the tastes of the generation, and also bring in more export opportunities. To facilitate this millets and its marketing, a global millets conference was organized in Delhi, and this aimed at facilitating the buyer sellers, promoting the campaign challenge "One District, One Product" idea was brought. The next is dryland farming. Now, dryland are the areas which are in one of the driest conditions, but still there can be crops that could be grown despite of the scanty rainfall in those areas. Now, some of the most remunerative crops have been seen which could be actually have replaced this area, which are pearl millet and sorghum. There have been various ways to conserve the water resources, minimize the soil erosion, and through this dryland farming there can be increased amount of organic matter in the soil. The next is national innovations in climate resilient agriculture, and this aims to promote the climate resilient technologies. Now when we talk about climate resilient technology, it's not just for the crop but also for the diversification, agroforestry and integrated farming systems. So the dryland agricultural areas are well demarcated in central India, northwest India. There are other parts in the south, in the regions of Deccan, where dryland agriculture can be practiced, and through the government efforts, resilient crops could be grown on the dryland area. The next is organic farming. As part of the organic farming, the Paramparagat Krishi Vikas Yojana and Mission Organic Value Chain Development for Northeast region specifically, there has been various programs through which low external input usage has been taken into consideration, because these do not require fertilizers and pesticides from outside. Everything has to be produced within the community and can be utilized, so saves a lot of import dependence of India. Then we also say that this has been defined as a system where we are keeping the farms free of chemical and fertilizers and pesticides, and also bringing in good development in the area. Now what are the salient features under this? So under this, the salient features talks about the financial assistance, which could be every cluster of the land. How much is the financial assistance? How can we work on it? The various features that have to be taken into account, which focuses on the need-based assistance, the integrated processing and so on. Now, another important aspect that we need to focus on is a portal where numerous farmers have registered, which is the Jaiv Kheti portal. And similarly, we have the idea where organic food market has to be increased, and India has seen a cumulative annual growth rate of nearly 25% for organic production. Now when we talk about the processed food, the production has actually increased. The processed food has increased for soya products, for oil seeds, cereals, sugar and plantation crops, which is again a good indicator. And our organic products are exported to which nations, which includes European Union, US, Korea, Ecuador, Switzerland, Brazil, Britain, Turkey, Japan and Vietnam. So those are the areas where we do export organic products, and these could be further increased with more involvement. And then we are talking about increasing the production through dryland agriculture, increasing the production through organic farming, and ultimately the idea is to bring in value added products from agriculture, which could generate better revenue and increase the exports rather than our import dependence on food grain. So this was a really important topic, specifically for those opting for agriculture or geography as one of their optionals, and even for the GS paper. This is a very important topic for this month, for this year upcoming examination. So prepare well, and those who have already sent in their answers for evaluation, we are calling the students regularly for the feedbacks. So in case you are looking to send it, please ensure that you are not sending it very close to the exam to avoid the last minute hassles. Thanks for joining in today.